Hello, fans of the USFL and team owners of the premier 20-team USFL Fantasy Football League. This is previews of the all-important Week 13, next to last game of the season. Most of the games very important. My name is Ray Jennings. I'm the commissioner of the premier 20-team league, bringing to you previews Week 13. We're going to start with two games that should be lopsided this week. Pretty much looks that way. The Gamblers and both the Blitz are really hurting, and they're both on the road. The Gamblers are on the road to the Panthers, champions last year. The Panthers and the Blitz are on the road versus the leading and best team right now in the league, the Oklahoma Outlaws. Both of these games very lopsided. Not going to discuss much there. I believe the Panthers are going to go to 8-5. Mark Niemi's Panthers, and probably secure a top-tier playoff spot. And then the Outlaws are very secure, win or lose, but they should win this game easily at home versus the Blitz. Then moving on to the next game, the Wranglers and the Gold. The Gold are find themselves 0-12. They're going to try to make some noise here at home versus the Wranglers. Kevin Perillou's Wranglers lost an important game last week, really close game that knocked them out of tie for first place in the Pacific. They need to win this week. Believe it or not, sitting at 8-4, if they go to 8-5, they could possibly fall out of the top tier playoff bracket. So the Wranglers need a win versus the 0-12 Gold. I'm going to give it to the Wranglers 25-22. And then the Breakers and the Express. Breakers won a big game last week. Surprise game against the aforementioned Wranglers. Very important divisional game in Week 12. But the Breakers prevail. They move on now, and they play the Express. The Express without Derrick Henry, without Carter, are really hampered. Still a great team. Only a 3-point advantage for the Breakers in this game. Jason Wise's Breakers versus El Briscoe and Dale Duncan's Express. I've got it 26-23. We'll see what happens there. Looking at the game of the week, the Invaders and San Antonio Gunslingers. The Gunslingers have been without Barkley, or pretty much without Barkley all year long. That is really the difference. Jake's had some close games with his Gunslingers. He's got another close one this week. It's a 2-point game. Invaders 26-24 are the projections. If the Gunslingers can win this game, I think they're mathematically in. If a couple of other things fall their way, Gunslingers lose this game, they're out of the top 8 board and out of the playoffs in the top tier. And then the Invaders are secure. Randy Miner's team is secure. But would certainly like to win, sitting at 9-3 right now. Invaders are tied on top right now, actually on top mathematically in the Pacific. And then moving on to our Eastern Conference game of the week is going to be the Spirit and the Generals. Spirit beat the Generals early in the season when the Generals were undefeated, and the Spirit, I think, was winless even. The Spirit have made some adjustments here later in the season. They're going to do it best to get in the lower tier bracket, but the Generals are only favored by 1 point. Stacy Pacheco's team over Matt's Spirit. It's going to be a good game to watch. I tell you, if the Generals lose this game, and next week in the battle for the Atlantic Division, when they play the Maulers, if they were to lose that game, gosh, I'm not sure the Generals would make the top 8 board. Mathematically, they probably are still in, but there is a chance that the Spirit can really wreck the Generals here, and we'll see what happens this week. Remember, our scoreboard is in the comments just below this video that you can keep up with the scores, see most anything in the league. You may have to have an ESPN login, which is free. Millions of people have the free ESPN login, and you may have to have that to see our league. I'm not sure. You may not. But follow these games by that route. The Federals and the Maulers, as I'd spoken, with the Generals needing a win. The Maulers have a 2-point advantage against the Federals if the Federals make the proper adjustments. Federals, Paul Thompson and Michael Harris, they've had a tough time this season. Lost a lot of close games. Kamar's never seemed to have been 100%, except maybe very early in the season. Maulers are favored in this game over the Feds. And if the Maulers win this game, they'll get their shot at the divisional title. Whether the New Jersey Generals win or lose, if the New Jersey Generals lose this week to the Spirit, Maulers can win this thing outright without a problem with a win in the final week versus the Generals. And then we got the Bulls and Stars. This is really a game of pride. I think the Stars of course, they're solidly in the second-tier playoff bracket, but I think the Stars want to try to get second place and keep winning and have a shot for second place in the division, in the Atlantic Division. And then the Bulls have worked their way almost out of the spoiler category. Phil Wilfong's Bulls, champions in the past years, usually playoff bound, had a tough season this year. He's got 4 wins, but if he can pull off a win versus Michael Angelotti's Stars and Ken Dunnick, the Bulls will also move into the second-tier playoff and out of the spoiler category. And then the Stallions and the Memphis Showboats. Memphis Showboats got a pretty good projected lead in this one. I'm going to have to give this one to the Boats at home. If the Stallions lose, they may fall into that bottom 4 category. We'll see. Boats pretty secure going forward. Stallions, tough year. Henry Rideau and Joe Bach. They'll be back next year, I know, and they won't quit this year. And then the Renegades started out really strong. Michael Rodriguez's team and Ron Freeman against Tampa Bay, John Bassett and Terry Harness. This is Terry Harness versus the world as far as I'm concerned, guys. He's on a mad rampage. He's won a few games here toward the end. It's not going to be enough to make the top tier. But the Renegades have everything to lose in this one, and the Bandits are favored over the Renegade at home, 26-22. That's the previews, guys. Have a great week. We're going to have new faces doing the previews going forward the rest of the season. Stay tuned for a great production of Round 1 playoffs in a couple of weeks. Everyone have a blessed week. Thank you.